to say that if something is important to New Zealanders, we can get behind it. Everybody should be able to watch these sporting games, and we should find a way to make it happen because it is possible.
The Honourable Consider Sam Lotu-Iiga.
Mr Speaker, it's an honour to speak on this bill, and can I acknowledge the member for bringing the bill, Mr Mitchell, because I know where his heart is on this. I know that he cares about New Zealand sport, he cares about the New Zealand public and how they view sport and the relationship between New Zealanders and sport and how important it is to the social fabric of our nation. However, I think he gets this bill extremely wrong. He gets it wrong in terms of what it's trying to achieve, and in fact the consequences of this bill could be quite damaging to many of the sports that he talks about. So, Mr Speaker, while his intentions are good, the bill is misplaced. And I think one member's already said it correctly. We can't go back to the days of sport being littered with ads, delayed coverage because it was free to air. And the commercial reality of it is that sport, while we enjoy it, while it is part of our community and our lifestyles in New Zealand, it's also a business. And New Zealand Rugby is a $133 million business. New Zealand Rugby is a brand that is and expanding, and it is a brand that all New Zealanders are proud of. And we know from correspondence from three of our major sports, New Zealand Rugby, New Zealand Cricket and Netball New Zealand, that for rugby and cricket it forms 40% of that revenue. It's such a critical part of their operations that what you're saying with this bill is you're going to threaten, Mr Mitchell will threaten the livelihoods of top sports people. It will threaten the livelihoods of community sports by taking that revenue away. I know he shakes his head, but he hasn't come up with any answers as to how he will cover the costs of providing for sport in this country. Sir, he also doesn't explain how the costs of producing these broadcasts will be covered. Some say that there is about $180,000, for example, to cover a test match, all the production equipment, all the staff that is required, and yet how does that get funded? He also talked about All Blacks that we need to retain within this country, top All Blacks, like Ben Smith, Aaron Smith, Kieran Reid. Yet this bill will threaten their livelihoods, and yes, they will go overseas. They are more likely to go overseas with this bill in place than they would under the current status. He's asked about research, and yet he refers to markets overseas and the Australian market. We all know the Australian market's very different to the New Zealand market in terms of free-to-air broadcasting, the competitiveness of that market, and how that competitiveness will not lead to revenues going to our unions or to our sports bodies through this bill. Sir, I asked him, how would he pay for this? And he says the debate has been around that the taxpayer also funds a lot of these sports. Well, if you look at the schedule, actually the taxpayer doesn't fund too many of the sports that are in the schedule. The funding for those particular sports is actually quite low. And so I put it to him that the research hasn't been done here. I don't think he also recognises the changing nature of the digital platform in which sports is being covered around the world. It is a little complicated. I mean, and we're more and more seeing sports being covered by, we're more and more seeing sports being streamed on the internet, where people are able to pay to watch individual sports events and also pay to see their favourite sports team, whether it be the All Blacks or New Zealand Cricket or Netball New Zealand, online. And those are the things that are changing within the sports market, within the broadcasting market, that I think this bill ignores. Mr Speaker, I just want to say, again, in summary, while I agree with the intentions of this bill, I think this bill is flawed. I think this is going back to an age where we're just not going there. In terms of the government, in terms of the opposition parties, I've heard members opposite criticise this bill. We're moving forward with sport in this country. It's a big business. It's community driven. This bill is a step to the past, not looking to the future.
I call Claire Curran.